Hello class! Well, we're here with another episode from American English File, 2nd edition, Book 4. I know, I teach these episodes with big delays, but please understand, I have other projects to teach, and at the same time, these episodes are so long to record. But I'll try my best to teach you as soon as possible, as regular as possible, and teach you on a daily basis. Now let's see what we got. This is part 8A. And as you can see from the title, it says Beat the Robbers and the Burglars. So today we're going to talk about crime and punishment. And at the same time, for grammar, we're going to cover passive voice. Because when you listen to the news, most of the tenses are in passive voice, not active. Well, get ready, grab your coffee. It's going to be a long one. It's pedal to the metal. Everybody, part 1, reading and listening. But before that, we're going to have a little discussion together, me and you. So, have you ever been robbed on the street? Where were you? What was stolen? Why do you think some people choose a life of crime? To be a robber, to be a criminal? And what's the difference between a burglar and a robber? What would you do if you came home and found a burglar in your house? And do you think security cameras stop crime? Why or why not? Now imagine you're a robber trying to go straight, trying to be the good person now. Change your ways. What job would you choose instead? Okay, so you quit being a robber. So what job would you choose? First, I need you to take your time, think, and write your answers. And after that, compare your answers with your friends. Speak it out. Practice as much as you can. Perfect. Nice discussions. Now, we're going to have a reading together. We talked about it. Now we're going to read about it. So, how not to get robbed on the street. I need you to read the article, okay, this article, and match the headings to the paragraphs. So, I need you to match A, B, C, D, E, F to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Well, as always, my friends, this is your gig. Take your time, do it, I'll be waiting.
A few moments later.
Good. Now let's check it together. How not to get robbed on the street. What is the first heading? Let's read it. You dramatically increase your chances of being robbed if you look as if you might have a lot of money on you. You don't have to look like a hobo, but you should try to look as if you aren't carrying much of value. If you're a tourist, keep your expensive camera or phone hidden. So the first one is C. Don't look too rich. Very good. Now there's a word here, hobo. Yeah, I remember I learned that word when I was playing Bully, Scholarship Edition by Rockstar Games. Yeah, the word hobo. Okay, number 2. This is especially true in countries where there are big income differences, and particularly in urban areas, city areas. Children are sadly often the most dangerous people on the street because they have nothing to lose. If you see a group of children coming toward you, ignore them completely and walk quickly to an area where there are plenty of other people. So what's that? That's D. Keep an eye on the kids. Yeah. Especially gypsy kids. Yeah, that's the problem. Especially in Italy, I've seen so many gypsies pickpocketing people.
Pickpocket, cuidado, carteristas, pickpocket.
Now, as for next part, if you see that people are watching you in a suspicious way, look straight back at them and make eye contact. If they were thinking of robbing you, it will make them realize that you may not be an easy target. So F, look confident. Number 4, if you're a tourist and somebody on the street tells you to put your phone away, do it. Sometimes the locals can be overprotective because they want you to see the best side of their town. But it's always a good idea to take their advice. If they say don't go somewhere, don't. And that would be E. What is E? Listen to the locals. And I saw a video, I remember it was, I think it was about Barcelona, Spain, where people would have a band on their wrist to hold their phone. So the phone was connected to their wrist so nobody could rob it from their hand while they were talking or watching something on their phone. Interesting. And number 5, the safest thing to do is to call a reputable company every time you need one. Your hotel can usually help with this. If you do have to get a taxi on the street, make sure it looks like a regulated one. For example, EG means for example, one that has an official number or company phone number on it. And never ever get into a cab that has another person in the front passenger seat. So that would be B. Be careful about cabs. And it's funny because I live in Istanbul, and unfortunately in Istanbul, taxis have a very, very bad reputation. Yeah. The last one, what's the first thing tourists do when they come out of the Times Square subway station in New York City? They look up at the tall buildings and then they pose to have their photo taken. When they're looking up or looking at the camera, that's the moment when a pickpocket steals their wallet. If you don't know what a pickpocket is, well, I have a video for you.
Attenzione pickpocket! Attenzione borseggiatrici!
Attenzione, pickpocket! Yeah, unfortunately this is a major problem in Italy and touristic spots all over Europe. Thieves also love the posters you see that warn tourists. Watch out for pickpockets. When men read that, their natural reaction is to immediately put their hand on the pocket where their wallet is to make sure it's still there. Okay, the pickpockets are watching and so they see exactly where the man is carrying his wallet. So it's counterproductive. Instead of helping the tourists, it helps the the burglars, the thieves, the pickpockets on the street. Okay, very good. Now, that's the last one. Be careful when you're sightseeing, A. Now, you're going to read the article again and tell me, can you remember the advice? What advice would you give someone to avoid being robbed in your town? So, instead of that, I need you to think about your city. For example, my city is Istanbul. And give, just like the article, give advices to your friends. What to do, what not to do. For example, be careful of the taxis in Istanbul. Be careful of the shoe shine scam in Istanbul. Let me show you. And also, always ask for the price first. Whatever you do, always get the price first. Okay, so it's time for you to help your friend who's visiting your town. Speak it up. We talked about it. We read about it. Now it's time for you to listen about it. Get your headphones, everybody. Very good. Now, first, I need you to look at the questions from 1 to 8 and predict the answers. Or maybe take your notes, write your answers, okay? Very good. How to beat the burglars. Now, first, take your time. There's no rush. As I told you, read the questions. Okay, write your answers. Now, if you're ready, well, I need you to listen to an interview with an ex-burglar. Okay, ex-burglar. So, he or she is not a burglar anymore. They changed their ways. And they're giving you advices. Listen, check your answers, and write the correct answers. Well, it's your turn. Listen.
4.30. So, welcome to the program, Danny. Now, you're an ex-burglar yourself, so you can obviously give us the inside story here. Tell me, how long does a burglar usually take to rob a house?
I'd say that an experienced burglar would never spend more than 20 minutes in a house. 20 minutes maximum, and then out.
And how much would they probably take in that time?
Maybe $4,000 or $5,000 worth of goods. It depends on the house.
And what are the favorite things for burglars to steal?
Well, these days, they're usually looking for things like laptops and tablets. They're easy to sell, and not so easy for the owner to identify if the burglar later gets caught.
What one thing would be likely to stop a burglar from breaking into a house?
I'd say definitely a dog, especially a noisy one. Burglars don't like dogs because they're unpredictable.
What kind of things would actually make a burglar choose a particular house to break into?
Well, it has to look like a house where there'll be things worth taking. So a burglar will usually go for a house that looks expensive in a good area. And they'll also often choose a house where there are trees or bushes outside that are good places to hide while they're watching the house before they break in. And also where they could hide when they come out of the house. That way, there's less chance of neighbors seeing them. And obviously, they'll usually wait for the house to be empty before they break in.
So a burglar wouldn't break in if they thought the owners were at home?
Not usually, no. Though there are some burglars who actually prefer it if the owners are at home in bed.
Oh?
That way, they won't get surprised by them suddenly coming home when they're in the middle of things.
Oh, not a very nice thought. What's the most common time of day for a burglar to break into your house?
People always think of burglars as working at night. And, of course, some do. But the majority of burglaries happen between around 10 in the morning and lunchtime. A burglar will watch a house and then wait for the adults to go to work and the kids to go to school, and then he can be sure the house is empty.
What's the easiest way for a burglar to break into a house?
The easiest way is just taking out a window or a patio door, usually at the back of the house. You can do this really quickly, and it doesn't make much noise if you have good equipment, which a serious burglar would usually have.
And finally, what's the safest room to hide your valuables in? What's the last place a burglar would look?
There's a typical order burglars use when they search a house. They start with the main bedroom, because that's often where people leave their valuables, and then the living room. After that, probably the dining room, if there is one, a home office, and then the kitchen. The last place would probably be a kid's bedroom. You wouldn't usually expect to find anything worth taking there.
So a child's bedroom is the best place to hide things?
Well, in theory. Though, of course, if any burglars out there have been listening to this program, they might start looking there first.
All right, interesting. This is valuable information. I mean, most of you should consider this very serious because these days, burglaries do happen. So protect yourself. Now, let's check your answers together. So number one, how long do you think a burglar usually takes to search someone's house? Well, he said maximum 20 minutes for experienced burglars. Which are the most common things that burglars steal apart from money? Well, laptops or tablets. What one thing would be likely to stop a burglar from coming into your house? Well, a dog. Number four, what factors influence a burglar to choose a house? If it looks expensive, there are good places to hide around the house, and if there is nobody at home. Why do some burglars prefer it if the owners are at home? Well, it's because of the surprise matter, so they won't get surprised. Okay, they know, okay, they are at home, they're sleeping, so there's no surprise. When are you most likely to be robbed? During the day or night? Well, during the day, he said. Because, you go to work, children are at school. Number 7. How are burglars more likely to get into a house? Well, he said by removing a door or window. And what is the best room in the house to hide your valuables? Well, a child's bedroom, he said. Okay, very nice, very good. Now, I need you to practice note-taking. Note-taking is very important, especially if you're taking the TOEFL exam. And right now I'm teaching you advanced English, so of course you need to learn this skill. Because on TOEFL exam, you will need to take notes if you're reading, if you're listening, if you're speaking, and if you're writing. For all the 4 skills, you need to know how to take notes. So, without further ado, I need you to listen again and write as many details as possible. And if you don't like it, you can skip it to the next part of this lesson. Well, let's do it.
4.30. So, welcome to the program, Danny. Now, you're an ex-burglar yourself, so you can obviously give us the inside story here. Tell me, how long does a burglar usually take to rob a house?
I'd say that an experienced burglar would never spend more than 20 minutes in a house. 20 minutes maximum, and then out.
And how much would they probably take in that time?
Maybe $4,000 or $5,000 worth of goods. It depends on the house.
And what are the favorite things for burglars to steal?
Well, these days, they're usually looking for things like laptops and tablets. They're easy to sell, and not so easy for the owner to identify if the burglar later gets caught.
What one thing would be likely to stop a burglar from breaking into a house?
I'd say definitely a dog, especially a noisy one. Burglars don't like dogs because they're unpredictable.
What kind of things would actually make a burglar choose a particular house to break into?
Well, it has to look like a house where there'll be things worth taking. So a burglar will usually go for a house that looks expensive in a good area. And they'll also often choose a house where there are trees or bushes outside that are good places to hide while they're watching the house before they break in. And also where they could hide when they come out of the house. That way, there's less chance of neighbors seeing them. And obviously, they'll usually wait for the house to be empty before they break in.
So a burglar wouldn't break in if they thought the owners were at home?
Not usually, no. Though there are some burglars who actually prefer it if the owners are at home in bed.
Oh?
That way, they won't get surprised by them suddenly coming home when they're in the middle of things.
Oh, not a very nice thought. What's the most common time of day for a burglar to break into your house?
People always think of burglars as working at night. And, of course, some do. But the majority of burglaries happen between around 10 in the morning and lunchtime. A burglar will watch a house and then wait for the adults to go to work and the kids to go to school, and then he can be sure the house is empty.
What's the easiest way for a burglar to break into a house?
The easiest way is just taking out a window or a patio door, usually at the back of the house. You can do this really quickly, and it doesn't make much noise if you have good equipment, which a serious burglar would usually have.
And finally, what's the safest room to hide your valuables in? What's the last place a burglar would look?
There's a typical order burglars use when they search a house. They start with the main bedroom, because that's often where people leave their valuables, and then the living room. After that, probably the dining room, if there is one, a home office, and then the kitchen. The last place would probably be a kid's bedroom. You wouldn't usually expect to find anything worth taking there.
So a child's bedroom is the best place to hide things?
Well, in theory. Though, of course, if any burglars out there have been listening to this program, they might start looking there first.
All right, very good. Now these are my notes. Yeah. So I need you to compare your notes to my notes. And One last thing. Of all the tips for staying safe at home and on the street, which one do you think is the most useful and why? Well, it's time for you to discuss this with your friends. Back to you. All the way to part 2. Vocabulary, crime and punishment. Well, everybody, I need you to match the words for people who steal with the definitions on the list. Okay, so I need you to put these in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And as always, you can use Google to help you. You can use ChatGPT to help you. Okay, so there's no limitation. Take your time and do it. All right, now listen and check with me.
4.31. 1,
Burglar.
2, robber. 3,
Shoplifter.
4, pickpocket. 5,
Mugger.
6, thief.
All right, very good. So a burglar is someone who breaks into a building illegally in order to steal. A robber is someone who steals from a person or place, for example, a bank, using or threatening violence. Number 3, a shoplifter is someone who steals something from a store. Number 4, a pickpocket is someone who steals from you on the street, usually without you noticing. Okay, and there's a good movie about it. I think it's the name of the movie is Focus by Will Smith and Margot Robbie. It's worth watching. Yeah, it's interesting and it's good for your English. Number 5, a mugger is someone who uses violence to steal from you on the street. And number 6, a thief is the general word for someone who steals from a person. All right, very good, but we're not done yet. I need you to follow me. Crimes and criminals. Okay, for example, look, crime, blackmail, criminal, blackmailer, the verb, blackmail. Okay, so I need you to match A to P with 1 to 16. Okay, there's no rush. You can stop the video, take your time, do it. Okay, and when you're ready, we can listen and check together. Okay, take your time. Learn from each other, check with your friends. Okay, this isn't a race. Okay, you're going to learn it all little by little. Now let's listen and check.
4.32. Crimes and criminals. 1. I. Blackmail. Blackmailer. Blackmail. 2. L.
Bribery. Bribe.
3. E. Burglary. Burglar. Break in, burgle. 4. D.
Forgery. Forger. Forge.
5. K. Fraud. Fraudster. Commit fraud. 6. F.
Hacking. Hacker. Hack into.
7. C. Hijacking. Hijacker. Hijack. 8. A.
Kidnapping. Kidnapper. Kidnap.
9. O. Mugging. Mugger. Mug. 10. B.
Murder. Murderer. Murder.
11. J. Robbery. Robber. Rob. 12. G.
Smuggling. Smuggler. Smuggle.
13. P. Stalking. Stalker. Stalk. 14. M.
Terrorism. Terrorist. Use violent actions, etc.
15. N. Theft. Thief. Steal. 16. H.
Vandalism. Vandal. Vandalize.
All right, very good. So far, so good. You got it. Now, these are different types of crimes and criminals. Okay, very good. So you can check the list again if you need. And now we're going to see what happens to criminals. Okay, if you're ready, follow me. This is the last set of today's vocabulary. What happens to a criminal? Okay, so again, we have 16 sentences. First, the crime, and then the trial. Okay, very good. So read the sentences and fill in the blanks with the words from the two lists. Take your time. There's no rush. For example, look, Carl and Adam committed a crime. They robbed a large supermarket. Okay, very good. The rest is yours. And if you're ready, listen and check.
4.33. What happens to a criminal? The crime. 1. Carl and Adam committed a crime. They robbed a large supermarket. 2. The police investigated the crime. 3. Carl and Adam were caught driving to the airport in a stolen car. 4. They were arrested and taken to a police station. 5. The police questioned them for 10 hours. 6. Finally, they were charged with armed robbery. The trial. 7.
2 months later, Carl and Adam appeared in court.
8.
They were accused of armed robbery and car theft.
9.
Witnesses told the court what they had seen or knew.
10.
The jury, of 12 people, looked at and heard all the evidence.
11.
After 2 days, the jury reached their verdict.
12.
Carl was found guilty. His fingerprints were on the gun used in the robbery.
13.
The judge decided what Carl's punishment should be.
14.
He sentenced him to 10 years in prison.
15.
There was no proof that Adam had committed the crime.
16.
He was acquitted and allowed to go free.
Yeah, this one is my favorite, acquitted. It means that he is not guilty. Okay, very good, very nice. So these are the words regarding crime and trial. You officially know about different types of crime, different types of punishments, and at the same time, what happens during trial and the results. As easy as that. You're doing great. Awesome. If you need, take a coffee break. Now, as for this part, we have pronunciation and speaking. Now, first, the letter U. Okay, everybody? So let's read them together. Accuse, burglar, caught, court, drugs, fraud, judge, jury, mugger, murderer, punishment, smuggling. Okay? Now, I need you to put these under these categories. Okay? No rush. Take your time. And if you're ready, let's listen and do it with me.
4.34.
Drugs. Judge. Mugger. Punishment. Smuggling.
Right?
Er.
Uh-huh.
burglar, murderer,
Okay?
Ah.
Saw.
Caught. Court. Fraud.
You.
you, accuse,
Er. Jury.
Great. So now you know all the sounds. Let's practice. Practice saying the sentences. Okay? Number 1. Repeat after me. Luke was accused of smuggling drugs. Number 2. Murderers must be punished, said the judge. Number 3. The burglar is doing community service. Number 4. The jury said he was guilty of fraud. And number 5. The mugger was caught and taken to court. Okay, now I need you to talk to your partner, you and your friend. What are the most common crimes in your town or city? What has been the biggest crime story in your country in the last few weeks? Do you have trial by jury in your country? Do you think it's a good system? Do you have capital punishment in your country? For those who do not know what is capital punishment, well, you can see it in the picture that I just showed you. Scary. If not, would you reintroduce it? And the last part. Do you know anyone who has been robbed? What happened? Who has been mugged? Whose car has been stolen? Who has been unfairly accused of shoplifting? Who has been stopped by the police while driving? Who has been robbed while on vacation? Who has been offered a bribe and who has been kidnapped? Okay, speak with your friends. Share your experiences. So far, so good. I told you, it's a long one. You have to be patient. Now, mini grammar, have something done. They look up at the tall buildings and then they pose to have their photo taken. Use have something done when you get another person to do something for you. Okay? So somebody else does something for you. Let me tell you how. I took a photo of Rockefeller Center. I took the photo myself. I had my photo taken at Rockefeller Center. I asked someone to take my photo. So if you do it yourself, okay, you take the photo. But if somebody else does it for you, you have your photo taken. And in the past tense, you had your photo taken. Okay? Have is the main verb, so it changes according to the tense. I'm going to have my hair cut tomorrow. I had my car repaired after the incident. So that changes with the tense. You can also use get instead of have. For example, I'm going to get my hair cut tomorrow. So have and get, you can use them instead of each other. All right, now you know this mini grammar. You can always look at it here. Complete the sentences with the right form of have plus the past participle of a verb from the list. We have these verbs: cut, install, renew, repair, take. How often do you have your hair cut? Okay, let's do it together. Or if you want to do it yourself, stop the video and do it yourself. Number 2, let's check it. Have you ever had a problem with your laptop? Where did you have it repaired? Number 3, do you usually have your passport or ID card renewed in plenty of time before it expires? Number 4, have you had a burglar alarm installed in your house or apartment? What kind is it? And last one, have you ever had your photo taken in front of a famous monument? Where was it? Very good. And now I need you to speak these questions with your friends. Compare your answers. Exchange your ideas. Perfect, ladies and gentlemen. Now it's time for the grammar. And as you can see from the title, we're going to talk about the passive. All forms of passive. For example, it is said that, he is thought to, etc. Okay, now you're going to read a true crime story. The title of this story is Not Her Best Buy. So take your time, read this, there's no rush. What does it advise us to be careful with? And what happened to the woman? Okay, take your time. This is your gig. I'll be waiting.
6.5 hours later.
Great, you're back. So tell me, what does it advise us to be careful with and what happened to the woman in the story? Okay, so the story advises the readers to be careful with deals that are too good to be true. It's too good to be true. It means that it's unrealistic. It's not possible. The woman paid $400 for an iPad that was in fact just a piece of wood with some glass stuck to the front. Well, they take you for a long, long ride, my friend. Okay, now you're going to read it again. This time you're going to circle the correct form of the verbs. For example, let me do the start. Not her best buy. If a man approaches you outside a Best Buy store, a Best Buy store is a store in the US which sells electronic equipment. And with a complicated story about needing money to get home and a surprisingly cheap iPad for sale, don't believe him. A woman in Daytona Beach, Florida, learned this the hard way after handing over $400 for what turned out to be a square piece of wood with a piece of glass stuck to the front. Okay, the first one was mine, the rest is yours. Take your time, read it, and do it. I'll be waiting.
A few minutes later.
Back to the game. When the man, 39-year-old Torrance Kennedy, or something, I'm very bad with names as always, who had a long criminal record, was later caught by the police, several more fake Apple products were found in his car. Look, it's reporting. So it's passive voice. There were 2 MacBooks that had been made from wood and were covered in silver tape. An Apple logo had been cut out in the middle and a Best Buy price tag stuck on the back. Kennedy insisted that he didn't know the computers were fake and said that he had bought them in a nearby town for his girlfriend. He has been charged with selling fake electrical equipment and is being held in Volusia County Jail. Alright, so this happens in many touristic places, in Thailand, in Istanbul, in Egypt. So don't buy from people who approach you with a story. Alright, not bad. Now you're going to listen to another crime story. Get your headphones, get ready. Alright, and answer the questions. There are 6 questions. First, take your time, read the questions. This isn't a race. And if you're ready, well, let's listen together. What do you know?
4.35.
And last on our crime news stories from around the world, a burglar who's been fooling even the most intelligent students. The area near Broadway and 9th Street in New York City is where students often head to when they're looking for an apartment to share. This was something well known to Daniel Stewart Cooper, who also knew that students in a shared house often go out and leave the door unlocked, maybe thinking that another roommate is still inside. This situation suited Cooper perfectly, and he is thought to have committed between 50 and 100 burglaries in the area. It is believed that he was mainly interested in finding illegal substances, but that if he found electronics or other gadgets lying around, he took those too. And he didn't just steal things. Cooper is also said to have made himself at home in the houses, helping himself to food from the refrigerator and even taking a shower. Although he usually tried to make sure that the residents were out, If he did meet people, it's thought that he would pretend to know someone there, and so was able to leave without raising suspicions. However, on September 5th, Cooper was finally caught after two students saw him in the area with a laptop and a backpack that he had just stolen from their house. Dylan John, one of the victims, told CBS News that Cooper had taken some food too. Cooper, who ran off as soon as he realized that the students suspected him, was found by the police hiding behind some nearby bushes.
All right, very good. Interesting. It was really interesting for me. All right, check your answers with your friends. Number 1. Where were the burglaries taking place? Well, in houses shared by students in the area between Broadway and 9th Street in New York. What did he steal? Well, drugs, illegal substances like weed, heroin, these stuff, electronics and other gadgets. Interesting. And what did Cooper do apart from stealing? He helped himself to food and he had a shower.
City boy! City boy!
All right, very good. Number 4, what did he do if he found people at home? Well, he pretended to know someone there. And how was he caught? Two students saw him in the area with a laptop and a backpack that he had just stolen from their house. And last question, well, the police found him hiding behind some bushes. All right.
4.35.
Sorry. You're going to listen again one more time and complete some extracts with the missing words. Okay? So listen again. Fill in the blanks. Your turn.
5.
And last on our crime news stories from around the world, a burglar who's been fooling even the most intelligent students. The area near Broadway and 9th Street in New York City is where students often head to when they're looking for an apartment to share. This was something well known to Daniel Stewart Cooper, who also knew that students in a shared house often go out and leave the door unlocked, maybe thinking that another roommate is still inside. This situation suited Cooper perfectly, and he is thought to have committed between 50 and 100 burglaries in the area. It is believed that he was mainly interested in finding illegal substances, but that if he found electronics or other gadgets lying around, he took those too. And he didn't just steal things. Cooper is also said to have made himself at home in the houses, helping himself to food from the refrigerator and even taking a shower. Although he usually tried to make sure that the residents were out, if he did meet people, it's thought that he would pretend to know someone there, and so was able to leave without raising suspicions. However, on September 5th, Cooper was finally caught after two students saw him in the area with a laptop and a backpack that he had just stolen from their house. Dylan John, one of the victims, told CBS News that Cooper had taken some food too. Cooper, who ran off as soon as he realized that the students suspected him, was found by the police hiding behind some nearby bushes.
All right, perfect. So he is thought to have committed between 50 and 100 burglaries in the area. Number 2, it is believed that he was mainly interested in finding illegal substances. Number 3, Cooper is also said to have made himself at home in the houses. Yeah. He would take a shower, he would help himself with the food. Okay, number 4, it is thought that he would pretend to know someone there. Okay, all these structures are, as you can see, passive. Okay, you can see after he is thought, said, believed, etc., you use the infinitive, and after it is thought, said, believed, etc., you use that plus a clause. Okay, so these two. Now follow me, I'll explain everything, and I mean everything. Okay, you're about to witness all forms of passive voice structure. Okay, well, let's do it.
4.36. Simple present. Murderers are usually sentenced to life imprisonment.
Present continuous. The trial is being held right now.
Present perfect. My car has been stolen.
Simple past. Jim was arrested last month.
Past continuous. The theater was being rebuilt when it was set on fire.
Past perfect. We saw that one of the windows had been broken.
Future. The prisoner will be released next month. The verdict is going to be given tomorrow.
Infinitive. People used to be imprisoned for stealing bread.
Base form. You can be fined for parking at a bus stop.
Gerund. He paid a fine to avoid being sent to jail.
Okay, very good, very nice. So we have active voice and passive voice. Okay, when you change the object with the subject, it becomes passive. Okay, it means that you're talking totally in an objective manner. You're reporting something. Okay, let me show you. So in this part we have the active, and in this part we have the passive. Listen and pay attention to the differences.
4.37. 1.
They say that the fire was started deliberately.
It is said that the fire was started deliberately.
People think that the mayor will resign.
It is thought that the mayor will resign. 2.
People say the man is in his 40s.
The man is said to be in his 40s.
The police believe he has left the country.
Perfect.
He is
Very
believed
good.
to have left the country.
All right, so the police believe he has left the country. Look, he is believed to have left the country. So you change the location of the object with the subject and rewrite the sentence. Is it as easy as that? Of course not. Take a screenshot from this page because we're going to practice it together. Okay, back to you. As always, we have two sets. A. Rewrite the sentences in the passive without the agents. Okay, for example, the police caught the burglar immediately. So forget about the subject, police. The burglar was caught immediately. No need to mention the agent. As for next part, B. Rephrase the sentences in two ways to make them more formal. People think the murderer is a woman. It is thought that the murderer is a woman. The murderer is believed or is thought to be a woman. Okay, very good. This is your gig. Use the screenshot that you took, okay? And one by one, try to do the exercises. You have all the time in the world, okay? And check with your friends, learn from each other, educate each other. And if you're ready, well, let's see. Number 1, police closed the road after the accident. The road was closed after the accident. Somebody has stolen my bag. My bag has been stolen. They are painting my house. My house is being painted. They'll hold a meeting tomorrow to discuss the problem. A meeting will be held or is being held tomorrow. If they hadn't found the burglar in time, he would have left the country. If the burglar hadn't been found in time, all right, you know the rest. Number 6, the police can arrest you for driving without a license. You can be arrested for driving without a license. Number 7, Miranda thinks someone was following her last night. Miranda thinks she was followed or was being followed last night. Number 8, I hate somebody waking me up when I'm fast asleep. I hate being or to be woken up when I'm fast asleep. Number 9, they're going to close the police station. The local police station is going to be closed. As easy as that. Okay, now, next one. This is the real challenge. Police believe the burglar is a local man. Okay, it is believed that the burglar is a local man. The burglar is believed to be a local man. Number 2, people say the muggers are very dangerous. Okay, your turn. It is said that muggers are very dangerous. The muggers are said to be very dangerous. Number 3, police think the robber entered through an open window. It is thought that the robber entered through an open window, or the robber is thought to have entered through an open window. Number 4, police say the murderer has disappeared. Okay, it is said that the murderer has disappeared. The murderer is said to have disappeared. And last one, lawyers expect that the trial will last 3 weeks. It is expected that the trial will last 3 weeks. The trial is expected to last 3 weeks. And that's it for the passive voice structure. If you know, you know. Let's do this one together. Use the notes below to complete a newspaper crime story. All the reporting verbs are in the present passive. Alright. America's most polite robber. Okay. Police in Seattle, Washington have arrested a man who is believed to be America's most polite armed robber. Okay. The robber who said, "I'm robbing you, sir," when he ordered convenience store owner John Henry to hand over $300, is said to be an unemployed 65-year-old father. Gregory Paul Hess, the man who was arrested, is thought to be the same man who committed similar robberies in the Seattle area over 10 years ago. Mr. Hess served 5 years in federal prison for those robberies. Sources say Mr. Hess is called the polite robber because he thanked and apologized to his victim, John Henry, over and over. It is reported that Mr. Hess was apprehended quickly because the victim, John Henry, released a surveillance video of the robbery in the media. Alright, the polite robber. Part 6, reading. Look at the title of this article, Crime Online. So, what kind of crime or crimes do you think it will be about? Alright, very good. This is your turn. You're going to first read the article once and choose the best summary of the writer's opinion. A, B, or C. Okay, this is your gig. I'll be waiting.
Tomorrow.
Alright, let's do it. Crime online. What is the world online? Is it real? Are we safe? Are we safe there? How should we behave there? The answer is, it's just the internet, our internet. The internet we made. It's exactly like the real world. Just a place with stores and information where people talk, but on a computer. But for some reason, we won't accept so simple an answer. Okay, we think that as soon as something is on the internet, it turns into something else. That it is not quite real. Take for instance a song. When is a song not a song? When it's on the internet. If a song is on a CD in a store, we would not hesitate to pay for it. But if you put the same song on the internet, millions of people think that you can take the same song without paying for it. It's true, by the way, you know. For instance, YouTube Music. It's still the same song written by the same people who spent the same hours and same money recording it. But press a button and it's yours. There are plenty of justifications for taking things for free on the internet. In fact, when the government proposed punishing illegal downloaders with internet disconnection, a lobby group of artists and musicians actually campaigned against it, saying that it would reduce the civil liberties of every one of us in this country. But let's see. How can this be true? How is being banned from using the internet because you have committed a crime any different from being banned from a library because you stole some books from there? The internet isn't a necessity. It's thrilling and amazing and useful most of the time, but it's not a right to be able to use it. We don't have a right to listen to the music we want or watch the movies we like for free. These things are treats, pleasures, luxuries. Why is it considered a right? Because it's the internet. And why is the internet different from the rest of the world when luxuries have to be paid for? Because it's the internet. There's also the argument that it's good for artists to be heard and seen. But what use are 9 million people who love your work but not enough to want to pay for you or your song or your movie? Fans who don't pay their idols are like lovers who promise everlasting love but then sit and watch you as you drown. Do you know who will end up suffering the most from all this? Young people, the ones who themselves are doing it. The music industry has shrunk 40% since 2000. Famous music magazines like Melody Maker and The Face have now closed, and young people who try to get jobs in the music industry complain about the low salaries, while they download hundreds of dollars worth of albums for free. It was written by the Times journalist Caitlin Moran. Okay, thank you very much. Now, what is it about? A, B, or C? Well, it's about illegally downloading music is the same as stealing from a store, and it will ultimately harm the people who are committing the crime. Well, lady, I beg to differ. If they're using it on YouTube, well, there's AdSense payment. It's not much, but if you're doing well, you're going to make a lot of money over and over, endlessly. Okay. Now, you're going to read the article again yourself, this time, not me, and answer the questions 1 to 6. Again, this is your gig. I'll be waiting.
Day 2.
Okay, so according to the writer, in what way do people have a different attitude to the online world? Well, people think that anything in the online world is free. Number 2, in what way is people's attitude to online music illogical? If people wanted a song on a CD, they wouldn't just take it from the store because it is stealing. But online, they feel they can help themselves. Okay. Number 3, what did the governments want to do? And who opposed this and why? Well, the government wanted to punish illegal downloaders with internet disconnection. A group of artists and musicians opposed this because they said it reduced people's rights. Number 4, what's the writer's view about illegal downloading? Well, she thinks people who download music illegally should be punished, for example, being banned from using the internet. And why does she compare fans who illegally download their idols' music to lovers who watch as you drown? Well, because they love music, but they are watching the music industry suffer. And last question, why does she think that the people who download will be losers in the long run? Well, because the music industry will get smaller and music magazines will close. People who want to work in the music industry will find that the salaries are very low because of money lost through illegal downloading. Well, what do you think? Yay or nay? Okay, now there are some highlighted words. I need you to look them up in your dictionary, on Google or ChatGPT, and write sentences with them. And after that, compare your sentences with your friends. We read about it, we listened about it. Okay, now it's time to talk about it. Okay, in groups, discuss the questions below. Are these activities against the law in your country, or do you think they should be illegal? Why or why not? And how do you think they should be punished? Okay, let's start with the online world. Downloading music, books, and movies. Hacking into somebody else's computer. Post aggressive or threatening tweets or messages. Photographing someone and posting the photo on the internet without their permission. Using a false identity online, creating a computer virus. Okay, real world. Owning an aggressive breed of dog. Squatting in an unoccupied house, living there without paying rent. Going on a strike without having previously agreed or announced it. Mistreating an animal in any way. painting attractive graffiti on a wall or a fence. Okay, so take your time, speak with your friends, and this is a box with useful language. For example, you can say, I think it should be illegal. I don't think it should be against the law, or it is against the law. I think people who do this should be fined, sent to prison. This is how you share your ideas. Well, you can take some notes to help you. Take your time, speak with your friends, compare your answers. This is all you. And this is the last set of today's exercise. Part A, writing, expressing your opinion. Very good. So in the first part, you're going to read the title of the article. Do you agree or disagree? Okay. And then quickly read the article and see if the writer's opinion is the same as yours. And as you read, I need you to fill in the blanks with these phrases from this list. Okay. As always, it's time for me to wait. It's time for you to read.
3 weeks later.
Community service is a bad punishment for sports stars who commit crimes. Nowadays in the US, when a star athlete commits a crime, he or she is usually sentenced to community service instead of serving time in jail or prison. In most cases, for these high-profile people, I believe that community service is a very bad opinion. First, the community service that star athletes are asked to complete is very often very different from the community service that non-celebrities must complete. For instance, star athletes might fulfill their community service by coaching kids at sports camps, whereas non-celebrities often perform court-ordered community service by picking up garbage on the roadsides or digging ditches. Second, kids often view sports stars as role models. So when a sports star never goes on a trial for committing a crime, kids assume that that if you're famous, you can get away with breaking the law. In addition, in most cases, once celebrities complete their community service, the crime doesn't go on their records. This sends kids the wrong message. If you're famous, the law don't apply to you in the same way as they do for non-famous people. Finally, I think that when sports stars are sentenced to community service for their crimes, they should also be fined. They usually have a lot of money, so they can afford to pay larger fines than non-celebrity criminals. In conclusion, I believe that star athletes who commit crimes should be sentenced to more than community service. They should also be fined or serve time in prison for more serious crimes. Okay, now you're going to write an essay. Okay, you're going to write an article for a magazine. So choose one of the titles. Downloading music or movies without paying is as much of a crime as stealing from a store. Squatters who live in an unoccupied property should not be forced to leave it. Okay, so choose one. Introduction, main paragraphs, and conclusion, just like this. So you're going to write an essay. Okay, you can use ChatGPT to help you. And at the same time, I need you to check it for mistakes. Now, in order to give your opinion, these are some ways. I think, I believe, in my opinion. In addition, also conclusion, to sum up. Okay, this is all you. Write an essay. I've taught you multiple times how to write an essay. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. Okay, you can download the slides in the description part. Workbook is coming up. You're going to practice what you learned. As always, if you ever need anything regarding English, you know who to call. I'll be seeing you again. I'll be teaching you again. Time for me to go. Love you all. Mwah. Bye-bye.